I don't know how much I really rate Company, but he plays the kind of football they want to play. He does play a dominant style of football for that league, and even in Europe as well. I just think there's enough mitigating factors for them to be patient with him, but I don't. I think you're right. They're probably gonna get rid of him. Especially after losing the first leg at home in this Champions League. Because they do fancy themselves one of the teams that could and should be winning this thing. So to not at least win your home tie, unless they dig it out in Milan, and I don't really see that happening, it's probably curtains for that black man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show. This is the Champions League edition. I have with me Dean and Coach. They are over the moon, and we all know why, and we'll get to that later. Outside of that, obviously you guys are doing well, but how are you guys doing nonetheless? It's rude to not ask.
Life is good. Life is
Yeah,
good.
man. This nigga said I'm over the moon, but I'm not the one with a new telescope, so I don't know what the fuck you talking about, nigga.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It wasn't meant to be a pun, but I quite literally am over the moon because I can view the moon.
Well, I cannot,
Yeah, you
but
can.
I'm happy. I'm
Just
happy.
look up.
Life is good.
Just use your Oju. It's fine.
He said Laju and Dada. Look in the sky. Oh man, Champions League. This Champions League quarterfinals made me smile. I'm very very happy about what I saw. But let's talk about PSG and Aston Villa. PSG beat Aston Villa 3-1. Aston Villa scored the goal. It was funny because when I was watching Aston Villa, they had four banks. Like, they were very defensive and they countered and scored. I was like, oh, that's exactly what Emery's playing for. I know exactly what you are. You're not going to win this game. But Dean, talk to me. How do you feel about this game? How do you feel about what you saw?
I had to unmute myself. My bad. The police were coming again. Anyway, this game, the Emery Bowl, if you will. Yeah, it was. He has that famed European pedigree people love to talk about when they're like, oh, Arsenal shouldn't have fired him. So just know that anything I say after this sentence is based in hate. Don't forget that. But I think I favored PSG to win. I just think they're in a good space right now. I know Villa have kind of recovered their form a little bit, but PSG just won the league in France. There's a high that comes from winning a trophy, and I think they've benefited from that. But that said, they've just also been playing well. They've been one of the better teams in Europe over the past few months. I mean, Luis Enrique is getting all the articles and praise in the world for finally making PSG a real team. So I felt hosting the first leg, I should expect them to win. And the game started exactly the way I expected it to start. They were dominating from the off. They could not beat Emi Martinez. Initially, I was beginning to feel like that hat that he wore was going to be a prediction, because this dude is the ultimate troll. I don't even know why they let him in France. Like, they need a different kind of government in France, like the one we have in America. Because that nigga would not have made it to Parc des Princes. Like, no way. But in any event, eventually, football did what football does, because Jean McGinn robbed Mendes in midfield, and I mean, the build up play to the goal was impressive, Coach. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
please talk us through that, because I feel like you have a gift for this sort of thing.
Well, the main thing is, I'm just gonna start from the end. Basically, Morgan Rogers is so clever, and I know we love talking about his running power in particular and his dribbling and stuff like that.
Racist.
No, but the spaces he finds himself in to score these types of goals is so underrated. Oh, sorry, pardon me. So good.
This nigga just disappeared.
I had my laptop screen way too far back. But yeah, he finds
That
himself
was
in
some
these
Harry
spaces
Potter shit.
For real, man.
a lot more than people will probably care to remember, and that's why he gets goals like that.
Yeah.
I want to say though, I don't know. Ollie Watkins has been
Got
carrying
his
the
chain.
league.
No, he just got his chain snatched. That's all.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, all right. So because I had the feeling he might have been injured, but there's a certain element you get of mobility and whatnot you get when you don't have a real recognized number nine just there starting, and it allows for players like Rogers to essentially just pop up and get these types of goals. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the top clubs in general are looking for more of his type rather than more of the, how do I want to say, the traditional, if you like, Cole Palmer type. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that type of player, man, and yeah. it's not unexpected for me that he found
Well,
a big moment in this type of game.
yeah, real quick on that Cole Palmer point,
Yeah.
which is astute. I feel as if it's less so that clubs clubs would always take a Cole Palmer if they can find one. I think it's just easier to get a Morgan Rogers, and that's no disrespect to the skill of dribbling the ball, but end of the day, you can find. I mean, you can find a lot of Morgan Rogers types in I don't know Ligue 1. And they were playing against a Ligue 1 team that was dominating them. Desiree Doue, man, I know Tosin been hyping this boy for the last couple of weeks. We all know how good he is,
weeks,
but you've been
years.
hyping him crazy and deservedly so because he basically decided, we're not having this Emery magic bullshit. Because that goal, my goodness, there were a lot of great goals in this round of the Champions League, but that may top them all, or no?
No.
No.
There was a better one scored in that game today alone, I think personally.
Yeah. By the way, I gotta correct myself. Ollie Watkins is carrying a knee injury. I forgot that Emery said that 5 days ago. But yeah, Doue. Listen, we talked about this kid 3 years ago, right? Like we literally, when we saw him run, we were all just like, no, this is exactly what it looks like. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, we're Negro Damas and we're smarter than everybody else, but
You're
Deen,
muted, Dean.
you're muted. You're muted.
No, you're muted, Dean.
You're muted. We cannot hear anything you're saying.
Oh, damn. It was a good rant, but the moment is gone.
Yeah.
You're just confirming what you were saying to us in that
Yeah.
we are
Yeah,
smart
pretty
enough
much.
to-
Yeah, like we said this like 3 years ago. Doue is exactly what it looks like. So seeing everybody now, I'm like, no. He's great at PSG, but that kid was great at Rennes as well. This isn't some like shit that just happened overnight. Like Doue has been that kid for a while.
Do you know what though? Just on his development, right? I actually think I see him playing through the middle, like.
Hey, coach, quickly before you finish,
Good.
you said this as well 3 years ago. I literally remember you saying this before. You like this kid is gonna be in the middle. I remember you saying this. I feel like I have deja vu.
Do you know what? I say a lot of
He
shit,
says,
man.
he
But
says it's about anybody that can dribble.
no, okay,
He's unpredictable.
no, but do you want to know why? And it's so good. I feel vindicated at least, even though it's an obvious point that Ali McQuaist on the British broadcast day confirmed. He said that what do you pay for players that can just beat their men? That and beating players wide is one thing because it gets you off your feet and you create chances from it. But consistently beating players through the middle of the pitch, not only is it entertaining, but you just generate so many high quality chances because teams like to sit in their mid block and their deep block, and once you start pulling players out of that space, players panic because they're so indoctrinated into their system saying, oh yeah, we're just going to keep it tight and don't get moved out of position. But then the moment somebody comes with a grenade and now everyone disperses kind of thing, now there's spaces and now nobody knows what to do outside of that system. So having a player like Doue, he can do it wide but do it from the middle of the pitch. It's just a nightmare for these defensive teams because what are you going to do? What are you actually going to do about that? What, consistently foul them? Okay, start giving free kicks away to players that can put in the top corner from anywhere at this point. So, yeah, it's just, Doue is just fantastic. And his goal is another string to his bow. Like, he can go either side,
I was going to ask, was it better for Unai Emery to leave Matty Cash on a yellow than subbing him out and putting Disasi in? Because Disasi got murdered in front of all these people, and we all just got to act like this is okay. Like, this is Boateng part 2, man. That wasn't cool, man. How you going to go back to your home country and get your chain snatched like that? That's messed up, man.
You know what's the first thing I heard in
By
my
a
head?
Georgian.
You know what's the first thing I heard in my head when I saw Disasi fall over like that? Carolina by Willy Longba. That's all I heard in my head was just Carolina. And I was just like, this guy's dancing. A Georgian just made you dance. And listen, it was embarrassing. Because it's funny because over the weekend, I was thinking to myself, who are they going to play? And I said, please don't play this. We talked about this because he was like, please don't play Disasi. And I knew he was going to play Disasi. And that's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean,
And-
he tried not to. He started with
know.
Matty Cash. Matty Cash got a yellow. Then he brought Disasi in, and it was a disaster. Yeah.
So here's my thing, right? Nobody spoke of Barcola for a long time until he started warming up. And there's a huge issue with that because there's so much talent there that you forget that, hold on a second, they still got some more nukes to come off the bench. And, I think we highlighted it in the Arsenal pod talking about what Arsenal can do to evolve. You got Martinelli running you down for 16 minutes and you bring somebody else on kind of thing. PSG are already there now. So you get Doue running you down for 60, 70 minutes, and then do you know what? We'll just bring on Barcola to finish off your remains. Like, it's the most obscene and grotesque sort of thing you can do to a fullback.
But listen, man, they are also playing Lucas Beraldo at fullback, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
He was playing
Center back, yeah, with
He was
Pacho.
playing center
Yeah.
back, but again, here's the issue here with Beraldo and just playing any wrong-footed centre back in there, out of position basically on the other side of their stronger foot, should I say? If you're already not confident and you're not physically dominant, you're just gonna have a bad day. You could be getting posted up by a number 9. You could be playing against a false 9. It doesn't matter. Like, teams will target you.
Yeah.
And go on.
I have a question about this tie because after we've kind of talked about the two great goals that they started with PSG, but it almost felt like Villa were chasing the game. Or am I tripping? Did you guys get the sense? Because PSG kept having room to run into, and I just thought to myself, I feel like, say what you want about Emery, but he's not naive. So I was a little confused as to the approach there. And I'm not trying to be mean. I just didn't understand it.
So we see it quite often with Emery, where his teams are stuck in two minds, basically. When they get it right, though, they are very, very, very hard to play against, as we come to find. But in this sort of tie, just from his communications as well, he'll say stuff like, yeah, we want to be aggressive, we want to dominate the ball, blah, 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 kind of thing. But we know by nature he's a turtle, you know what I mean? So, and that reflects in his team. So his teams will be wanted to play, wanted to dominate, but then they retreat at the first sign of, something not working kind of thing. So they're always stuck between that, I wouldn't even call it a deep block / mid block. They're just stuck between trying to dig in and trying to attack. So that's why those spaces appear, because not everybody's on the same wavelengths. Like, the distances at times today, they weren't bad, but they were too slow to regroup, and that's why PSG were finding these gaps.
It was offensive.
Yeah, I mean, to sum it up, basically, like, I've always said this, and we've said this a million times. Shopping league on. I mean, there's nothing but gems in that league, and you saw it today. Nuno Mendes is finished though. Right-footed. You would have thought he was a forward the way he finished that. What made me happy the most is that Martinez ate grass 3 times, and I wish it was more. I just wish he'd eat more grass. That's all.
Yeah.
He's just a piece of shit, man.
On Nuno Mendes, I'm really pleased for him because he made the mistake for Villa's goal. So it's nice to get that back at the end of the game, So, and also it may be, I feel like it might kill the tie.
Yeah, it did. It did.
As decent as Villa are, I don't trust them I don't think they can just straight up beat PSG at Villa Park. I mean, they can get like maybe a 2-1 type thing, but 3-1 is just killing the tie, I think.
By the way, this was Luis Enrique's 100th game in charge of PSG.
So, not bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about Barcelona and Dortmund. We knew this game was over as soon as they got drawn together. That was pretty much over with as soon as that was drawn. And then today, Lewandowski still has it. Lamine Yamal, man, listen, I don't even know where to start to praise this kid. Like, his weight of pass is stupid. Like, he knows how to find a player with his weight of pass. I'm just like, yo, how are you this good? Like, every time I have to look it up on Wikipedia, like, you're really 17 years old. Like, it doesn't compute in my brain. But Pedri, Gavi, like, their midfield, like, they're just good. Kubrasi's really good. Everything about Barcelona, they're just a really good team. And I don't know what else to say that we haven't said before about them, that they're just really goddamn good. And, we know Dortmund aren't a serious team, but no one was beaten. Dortmund, they could have showed up with, like, the team from 96 and still lost. So, it is what it is for Dortmund.
No, I feel like you went a little far there, but, nice soliloquy. But, yeah, Barcelona, alongside PSG are probably the 2 form teams in Europe, I would say. At least from an aesthetic standpoint. I don't think Barcelona have lost this year, have they?
I don't think so.
Lost in any competition this year.
Wasn't it? Didn't they lose to Atleti?
It probably wasn't this year.
Okay.
But yeah, they've been in good form is the point. And they started this game like a house on fire. Your boy, Yamal, was going nuts. Some good saves from Gregor Kobel. But we kind of knew what kind of game this was going to be at the draw point. In any event, they concede from I don't really know Barcelona for this, but it was a free kick. It was a free kick routine, essentially, and Kubarsi scored the opener that Rafinha almost messed up, because that looked like offside to me. I know they gave them the goal, but from the camera angle that I saw, that was offside. But in any event, 1-0, then Dortmund actually woke up for a brief period there. They had, I want to say Guirassy had like 3 good chances in the first half and did not do well with any of them. I don't know what happened. He basically choked. These were chances a striker of his quality should be putting away. Then second half starts. I think Adeyemi goes off a Bayer. You're thinking Dortmund are about to come with a new approach or some shit. The approach was to lay down and chop goals for real. You know, like it just wasn't good. But I really enjoyed Coach. We don't see this very often, but the Yamal finish, the toe poke finish on the counter, like we rarely see those finishes. I love it.
And we were talking about players that that used to. I don't do often. We were talking about the likes of Romario and R9, Inzaghi. But I think genuinely, it's good that they're on the same side of the draw. I know we're talking about Barca, but it's good that there's a potential Barca could play Inter, because you kind of want to see the most free scoring attack against what people deem as the stingiest defense around. I don't 100% agree with that for obvious reasons, but you want to see that. You want to see it, and I think because of Barca's how many different ways Barca can essentially line up how they want to build their midfield, it presents a whole host of different problems for not only just for the teams in La Liga, but how teams want to prepare for them in Europe, because tonight they started Firmin, but there's Dani Olmo, there's even times where they can play what's that fella's name, the other Spanish dude that used to play for Man City,
Ferran
Torres as well, kind of thing, that and yeah, like there's, I want to say that comfortably they have the best attack in Europe, but then I still look at PSG and think I think I like PSG's just a little bit more.
I like the variety of profiles in
that PSG have.
Better.
Yeah.
Not PSG. They don't. PSG is just playing a bunch of wingers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's different kinds of wing, but it's all just wingers. Barca actually have forwards, like actual real forwards, that can act as a baseboard and shit like that. Like Luis Enrique doesn't trust Gonzalo Ramos, so he's not really part of the equation. But yeah, I mean, this was easy. Frankly, it was easy. Dortmund just kind of melted once it got hard. Lewandowski seems to enjoy scoring against his former team. Apparently, this is a team Hansi Flick has beat the most in his career as well, which isn't very long for a coach. What's that, Tosin?
Never lost.
Never took a loss, So, but that said, a lot of wonderful things happened, including a random appearance by a random Ansu Fati. I didn't know he was still here. Tosin, what's up?
I was gonna add, when they subbed on Ansu Fati, I was like, yeah, they don't respect you.
It's like when the Detroit Pistons in 2004 would bring on Darko Milicic.
Yes,
it's like human victory cigar. Like, yeah, this is a wrap. It's over.
Yeah. But yeah, Barcelona, they basically through to the next round. Yeah. Let's talk about Inter and Bayern Munich. I love this game personally. I tried not to. I was watching Arsenal at the same time, but I really, really love this game so much for the fact that, like, people are coming around to see Simone Inzaghi. Like, no, this is what he's been doing for 5-6 years now. He's one of the best managers in the world. This is a really good team, and he did it without his best wingbacks. DeMarco wasn't playing, and they still.
How long is DeMarco out for, sir?
I'm not too sure.
I think he's actually healthy enough to play off the bench, but I think it was one of those game state type things. Did they bring him out at all yesterday?
I don't think so.
Because I only watch highlights. But I get the sense from the last pronouncement I heard from Inzaghi that he's actually somewhat healthy, just not healthy enough to start. So maybe they're just letting him get healthier. Because as far as managers go, I don't think there's one that rotates more than Simone Inzaghi. Like he's content to rotate in all positions, all kinds of players, and just put. It's a very flexible system. So you sort of, when you manage that sort of system where there's so many rotations between every level of your team, you basically have to trust everybody on your roster, essentially, And in this game, I suppose the real reliance was on the trend of this game, if you was the front two, because Bayern late in the game changed it when they brought on Muller, and they went with the front two, and that's when they looked the most dangerous in the game, which was crazy. And they also got a goal. They got the equalizer. But I think I've skipped that Lautaro finish, man. Like, Tosin, you love the game. You deserve to speak on this one, I think.
Stupid finish, though. Sorry. Absolutely ridiculous.
I'm so glad my neighbor wasn't in her apartment upstairs, because I screamed. I was like, what the was that? It was such a beautiful finish. And the only thing I could say was Lara Kutu Martinez because I was like, yo, that is an absurd finish. It was so good. And
If your neighbor is a woman from New York, I'm assuming she screams too, so it's fine.
Marcus Thuram and him, they've really bonded a really good relationship with each other, and it's beautiful to see. Like big man, little man. It's like seeing Defoe and Crouch again.
Yo, does this mean that Lautaro is the least racist Argentinian alive? Because this motherfucker be making the greatest partnerships with big ass niggas and shit, man. He was cool with Lukaku. They played really well together. Now he's super cool with Thuram. It's all Who do you think likes Thuram more, Lautaro or Coach? The white Jonathan David, baby. Actually, are Argentinians white?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They're Germans and Italians. That's what
Just
they are.
checking. Just checking.
Yeah. If you go look at every single one of them, they have either German or Italian heritage. Like Messi's basically
Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that Lautaro is a brother. Okay. This man said haram.
Not of that trim. Not of that trim.
That's I think he's Congolese, my brother.
Nah. Respect my Congolese brethren, man.
No. What are they gonna do?
Defend like this, Sassy.
Okay, so Barella, right?
Thank you. By the way, thank you.
Yeah, let's have a conversation. A short one, but let's just have one anyway.
For a short man.
Yeah. I think it'll be Inter versus Barca, and I think Barca have a big problem dealing with him because I feel like he's like that. He can definitely cause their entire midfield problems on his own, no problem at all. The only issue is they also have a Pedri. So that's where they cancel each other out. I just think because of the way Inter play, Inter are happy to just flood the middle of the pitch and make sure, for example, that whenever Barca receive the ball, I'm going to get a little bit technical, but whenever Barca midfielders receive the ball, their first and only pass option is always going to be sideways or backwards, basically, for the majority of the game. Inter are happy to play that way. However, when Barella gets the ball, you know straight away what he's doing with it, kind of thing. He's committing players and the ball's going. Like, he's finding someone.
Can I add to your point, Coach? Sorry, Dean. That last goal, by the way, Davide Fratese's grandmother died, and he scored on the same day that she died. So that's so beautiful. She died like literally before the game started.
Wow.
He's the one that set up that goal, basically.
Yeah.
Barella.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disrespectful, but in my culture, when something like that happens, they'll say somebody did blood sacrifice.
That is true. That is very true.
I'm just saying that's what people say where I'm from. I'm not saying I'm saying it.
Can I say as well? That is the most Fratesi goal of all time. Like,
It is.
Like you just like you. It's when I heard he scored, I already knew what it looked like. I knew exactly what it looked like.
He's like Aaron Ramsey with zero foreplay. That's how I think of this game.
Zero shame. Like he doesn't even try to hide it. Like
basically, he's a 9.
Yeah, basically.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yo, I'm here, and what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Midfield,
so guys,
never heard of her.
Yeah. Like, listen, fellas. Low key, as we were praising Inter for their performance in this game and what they'll probably do to Barcelona down the line if they end up matching up. A black man is about to be out of a job. Ain't but like 2 black coaches in all of Europe. Is there anything Kompany can do to save this, or is this injury crisis just the end of his tenure at Bayern?
I genuinely think, right, highly unlikely, but they're not winning the Champions League, yeah. But even if you win the Champions League, I genuinely feel like there's a way that you manage Bayern. I just feel as if the higher ups just aren't happy with it regardless. Personally, they're gonna win the Bundesliga, we know that. But to me, I think they want utter dominant. They want to basically have a PSG season every season, and the moment you don't have that, even if you do win, in their head, there's cracks there. You can be got at. You know what I'm saying? Like you're showing the signs of weakness and whatever else kind of thing. Because they probably still will win Bundesliga, but it won't be more than 6 points that they win the league by. That's a disaster, basically. Like, they're used to winning that shit by like 15, 20 points, no problem. 6 points is way too close to cool, you know?
Yeah, which is fair, but it does feel like it would be a. I don't know how much I really rate Company, but he plays the kind of football they want to play. He does play a dominant style of football for that league, and even in Europe as well. I just think there's enough mitigating factors for them to be patient with him, but I don't. I think you're right. They're probably gonna get rid of him. Especially after losing the first leg at home in this Champions League. Because they do fancy themselves one of the teams that could and should be winning this thing. So to not at least win your home tie, unless they dig it out in Milan, and I don't really see that happening, it's probably curtains for that black man.
I have two things to say. One, Michael Elise is special. That's the first thing. We all knew that already, but he's special. Second, Harry Kane is choking out there, man. He was choking out there. Elise had a good pass to him, and he didn't finish. I was like, yo, Harry, that's your bread and butter. What are you doing? Like, we expect you to finish that sort of chance.
Hey, listen, man. You guys made fun of him for not winning a trophy. He's about to win a trophy. I don't want to hear none of this other shit.
I'm trying to get my hate off anywhere I can, okay?
Hey, listen, man. I'm just looking out for Harry Kane.
I respect it. But yeah, Nico Barella is one of the best players in midfield in the world and has been for quite a long time. And Bastoni's one of the best defenders in the world too. That's not
Man of the match.
He got man. Yeah, he got man of the match.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to see him leave Inter. Basically, let's get him to Real Madrid. How about that? Let's just get him to Real Madrid. Let's get over and done with. And then we won't have to worry about Saliba going there.
Or they could just go get that boy from Bournemouth, Deen Hussein. He wants to go back to Spain.
Yeah. The only thing is I will say, I mean, Real Madrid have always had black centre backs for like the last 10, 15 years. You talk about Sergio Ramos. You're talking about Pepe. Now you got Rudiger. You got Tchouaméni in there. I don't know if you want.
Suggesting that a motherfucker with an anger issue and a bunch of ugly ass tattoos is black is the most racist shit anyone has ever said on this podcast. Like,
but you don't disagree.
I'm very proud of you. No. I'm very proud of you. Thank
No,
you
I'm grateful you said that. Yeah.
So
And you know what's the blackest thing he's done too? He went to Mexico to go play, and he wore the number of the minute he scored the winner in against Atletico Madrid.
That's just pure Coach Prime shit. That's nothing to see here.
Pretty much. Like
Yeah.
I know what car he would be driving if he lived in Houston.
I know, and I know what car he'd be driving in New York, but I know what he would say if he was in Dominican. He said, "Yo soy un negro." That's what he'd say. That's what Sergio Ramos says. Un negro. That's what he says about himself. And that's a great segue to talk about Real Madrid. The Arsenal edition is out now, bucket hats included. So please go watch that, listen to that. They talked, and I want to talk. So, for me personally, I knew Arsenal was going to win. I didn't want to say it out loud, but when I saw them lose to Valencia over the weekend, I was like, yeah, this is not a serious team. We've watched a lot of Real Madrid, unlike most people. We actually generally sit there and watch, and I was like, this team is fragile. Right. And when I saw that front three of Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinny, I was like, yeah, that's very imbalanced. And then I saw Modric there as well. And I think the thing a lot of people fail to realize about Arsenal is that Arsenal are one of the best defensive teams in the world, if not the best defensive team in the world. You're not going to score against Arsenal. You might get a chance here or two, but you're not going to score that many against Arsenal. I think some of you guys fail to realize who Mikel Arteta's fathers are. Is David Moyes and Alex McLeish. He's a bastard, okay? That's he had a little bit of Wenger and Pep with him, but he's a bastard at the end of the day, okay? That's just who he is. But with that said, that interviewer who asked Bukayo Saka, is he on the same level as Mbappe and Vinny? And I was just like, yes. And he always has been. He's been on that level for years now. Like, that's such a stupid question. Like, why are you asking dumb questions? And I'm glad Saka showed up in the second half and got those 2 fouls because the kid's special. It just is what it is. But fair play to Arsenal, man. They looked really good yesterday, and Arsenal fans are hype as they should be because that was a very impressive win. And Declan Rice's free kicks, I was like, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. What the fuck was that? Like, I've never seen Declan do that before, and hey, sunglasses are coming on. But yeah, that's just all I have to add is that I was very impressed. Miles Lewis-Skelly, you would never think he's 18 years old. The way he plays, he's so cool and calm and collecting the ball. Jurgen Timber, like he's, if you're actually watching the game, you see how good Jurgen Timber is. He's incredible at right back. And, Kyrior, we talk about Kyrior. People thought he would have got 8 yesterday because of Mbappe. Nothing happened. But Real Madrid did have 2 players that stood out to me was Jude and Tibor. I know a lot of people making fun of Jude for his shirt tucked in, but Jude played well. But there's nothing you really can do against Arsenal because they're better. They're a better team. Madrid have better individuals on paper, but Arsenal are better collective, and that showed yesterday. And that's all I have to say. So, fellas, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Look, man, look. Go on, Dean, sir.
No, carry on, please.
I was just gonna say, there was one more player I thought that played incredibly well for Real Madrid. I thought Camavinga was fantastic. To be honest, yeah, but his head went. You forget he's only 21. So his head went. But yeah, I thought he was fantastic. But I want to talk about midfield. I want to talk about midfielders. So I want to get serious for a second. Sorry. I need to take my sunglasses for this. So when we talk about midfield and midfielders, it is such a hugely vast range of what you do in that area of the pitch, on the ball primarily, but also off the ball, right? To reduce any player in the world in midfield to 2 actions is the dumbest shit I've ever seen and remain to see across conversations everywhere, right? And I think you kind of know where I'm going with this. But talking about what players can do when they're receiving the ball to the back with their back to goal on the half turn, and talking about what they can do in small spaces in midfield, are those are like, I want to say, if you want to quantify it, those are probably about maybe at best 10% of what you do as a midfielder overall, right, in a game. All the other shit that you do, like filling tactical holes for your coach for 90 minutes, whether you're going to be a left 8, whether you're going to be sitting a double pivot, whether you're going to actually be the number 9 in periods to overload the box, whether you're going to be the one to control transitions, whether you're going to be the one to switch play, whether you're going to be the one to actually just tell the other midfielder, go, I'm sitting now, kind of thing. All of these things contribute to the game way more than a half turn or dribbling in tight spaces, especially now that midfield now more than ever is a job share in general. So you're not going to have one midfielder to do all of those things for you anyway. It's the stupidest way to think about football. It's the stupidest way to try and build a team. Oh, this player has to be able to do this, and this, and if not, useless. Can't deal with him. Can't have him. You're not clever. You're not smart for prioritizing those things. You look very, very stupid, because coaches will tell you all the time, I need players to be able to do all these other things, and all those other, and the things that you're prioritizing are nice to have. Real Madrid have got great pocket players and whatever else. Modric, Camavinga, all these players can receive in tight space, whatever. They got battered yesterday, smoked out their boots. So what does that tell you about those things you prioritize? For the last time, you're not clever, you're not smart for thinking Declan Rice is not a world-class player because he doesn't look that good in the ball and he can't receive in tight space and all that rubbish. You're an idiot. A big fucking idiot. Alright, I'm done.
That was good. I just gotta say, if you don't like Declan Rice, I'm sorry you had a really hard day yesterday. I'm really sorry that happened to you. Well, you can go suck your mother.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm
listen. One thing that made me very happy though yesterday was seeing Real Madrid struggle with center backs, and the one that they wanted is in Manchester now. So eat that. But I'm very happy. The kits look good together though. The gray and the red look really nice together. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Also, what was up with Ancelotti's eyebrow? I know his eyebrow has its own man, its own most weeks, but for some reason yesterday it seemed a lot higher, at least 2 inches higher pause than usual. What the fuck was up with that?
Tariffs.
The man was in distress, like I think like Ancelotti he's not a liar as a manager. I think his abiding quality, like people talk about his flexibility and adaptability as a manager, but really the main quality he has that really stands out to me is his honesty. And I think even before the game he was kind of suggesting that shit wasn't going to go well, but he was like, we'll see what we can do, and he was seeing it, and that brow was not liking what he was seeing, and that shit was going north, like it was like, what's popping in Newcastle, nigga, like, cause London is fucking brutal. But yeah, we love Carlo, but honestly, I have some sympathy for him because I don't know exactly when you have to play certain players. Because let's face it, people are like, "Oh, a team isn't balanced." Okay, so he's gonna bench who now? You think Florentino's gonna let that happen? You think Florentino spent that money for him to not play Vinicius, for Rodrigo to not play? Like he doesn't care about he's gonna give you. That's how it works at Madrid. He gives you a squad to work with, and you make it work. No excuses. And to make matters worse, the midfielders and defenders that could help him fill tactical holes are not available. Like people don't really rate Dani Ceballos because of his time being a fidget spinner in Arsenal. If he was available yesterday, they don't get overrun the way they did. They just don't because he can set the tempo. They don't really have that anymore now that Cruz is gone. Did they replace Cruz? No, they didn't. Did they buy him a defender in January? No, they didn't. Is Eder Militao injured? Yes, he is. Has Alaba played left back in the last 3 years? No, he hasn't. So there are a lot of mitigating factors. Maybe there was a better way for them to lose, but they still would have lost.
Yeah.
Arsenal are just a better team, like Tosin said.
I will say, looking at David Alaba at left back, first thing that came to my mind was, damn, this is the unction. He is old. He's like, you're starting to see players you grew up watching as really talented youngsters are now like the uncles now. And I'm just like, dang, Alaba is an old man.
I love Alaba so much, but the amount of pain he caused me in a Bayern shirt, I'm sorry, yesterday he deserved it. Saka as a youngster definitely watched those games. When Bayern came to the Emirates here and there and whatnot, and just gave us the work. And I know he was carrying that with him. Like he got what he deserved yesterday for sure.
I didn't like to see two Yoruba men go against each other.
No, fuck all of that. I'm sorry, he deserved it.
Listen, man. That old fuck is lucky he didn't use a machete on him. Like that's the pain he has caused me as an Arsenal fan. Like he's lucky he left that stadium alive. Honestly, like I'm just glad that when he was facing Saka that he wasn't wearing red, because I would have just had PTSD and started twitching and shit, man. Because those Bayern teams, man, motherfuckers know what happened. I'm not gonna talk about this shit. Let's stay on the happy shit. Like Real Madrid came to London and they ate it. But shout out Thibaut Courtois, man. Like we know how good he is, and I've seen him have performances like that before, notably against Liverpool in one of those Champions League finals they won. Mm-hmm. But to watch it happen against your team is some scary shit, because after the first couple of saves, you start thinking thoughts, and they're not positive, because he can shut you out. So I'm just glad that Johan Cruyff deemed us worthy of those golazos yesterday, because we needed a way to break that game open, because this asshole was not going to let that shit happen easy, So thank God.
Do you know what, dude? In both halves, right? He had double saves.
Yes.
That shit ain't normal. Tosin, you've been fortunate enough to have some excellent goalkeepers at United. I'm talking
namely Andrew Onana.
yeah, Onana, top quality. But we're talking De Gea, we're talking Schmeichel, we're talking Van der Sar, right? In my opinion, they're all better than. He's better than all of them, kind of thing. But just how far better he than some of the best you've seen, because I'm struggling here. He's just unreal, man. Seriously unreal.
He's top 5 goalkeepers I've ever seen in my life. I think, honestly, between him and Neuer, they can make a claim for the GOAT.
I think Neuer and Buffon are both better.
Yeah. Then that, yeah.
He just happened to play for Real Madrid, which adds a little extra. But
yeah, Tata shit. Yeah, but I do think he's better than Casillas. So
I guess
I just
but
don't
almost
like
by default. Casillas was really small.
I was about to say, and also he wears short sleeves. I hate goalkeepers wear short sleeves.
He made it look cool as fuck, man. I'm sorry. Short sleeves with gloves. That's an aesthetic right there. I'm sorry. For me, at least, anyway.
I feel like it's more of an aesthetic when strikers do it. It's real serial killer shit. Yeah. I feel like Diego Costa used to do that.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he did. And Anelka did that too. Because he's a psychopath as well.
That's the real aesthetic I should have cited right there. I apologize, Mom.
Last bit before we get out of here, Mikel Merino finishes better than any striker at my club.
Hey, you said it, not me.
Rasmus Højlund, eat your heart out. Anyways, y'all got anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, I praise that Merino finish enough, so I'll just stop. But man, it was so impressive. I mean, that's why I kept asking you to explain the movement to me, because I just didn't expect that. It was just so beautiful, man. And to him, it was just a fucking Tuesday, because Real Madrid are the team he scored the most goals against in his career anyway. So
yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Arsenal's good, man. Like when the PGML isn't involved, Arsenal is really fucking good, guys. I'm
Ooh.
telling you.
Can I one more thing? The refereeing in Champions League is so much better than the Premier League. The refereeing was so good this week. It was
I
so
will
good.
say, I think we had the worst ref of the 4 games this week. I will say that. But with that being said, we didn't talk about him too much because in the Premier League, if we get that sort of performance, we're praising the ref basically for Premier League standards. But
Yeah.
this is what it looks like. This is what it can look like when refs don't have any skin in the game. They don't care about making a name for themselves. They don't have any sort of preconceived sort of hate towards a certain club or a certain manager and stuff like that. They're just there to do their job and go home to their families and drink some warm breast milk. Like that's what they want to do, really. Like they're not. Put it like this, right? Every other industry in the world, right? You can employ people from other countries to come and work, for your company and shit like that.
Not in America, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Shut your Brexit ass up.
Well, most places, should I say, in most professions, right? So why not? Why not for referees? Why not get the best of the best? These guys over here, aren't up to it. So
referees are terrible people, and they don't deserve the freedom of travel that would come with that. So that's why we don't do it.
If you guys are interested, we have Weenie Hut Junior night tomorrow in Europa League, but nobody cares about that. Anyways,
no. I mean, Man United just made it a little spicy. I'm gonna be watching United.
I'll be watching. I'll definitely be watching.
So yeah, I ain't gonna front. I'll watch that little. I hate that music.
I can't lie to you. Onana posting that at least I've won the trophy here was funny as shit.
Wait, Matic never won a trophy at United?
Nope.
That's funny. That's funny.
And the irony of it all is, right, that he mentioned De Gea. The reason why Matic doesn't have a title is because of De Gea in the Europa League final in the penalties.
Ooh, I remember that. He dove in the wrong direction.
I could have swore he scammed that treble with Jose. No, he must have
wasn't
after
there.
That.
He wasn't there. It was after 2018.
Wow.
Like, and the funny thing, I'm sure if we go look at that Onana post, we'll see that Jose Mourinho liked this tweet.
And on that note, we are out. Everyone take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Hey folks, this is Deen from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.